Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living on Blockchain. Today, we are speaking to Yatharth. He is working in the deepen space. He calls himself the deepen daddy. And this was an interesting conversation for many reasons because deepen is all the rage nowadays. Everybody is talking about how they're building in deepen, and we've seen a lot of buzz around this term. And I wanted to talk to somebody who's actually in the trenches, building something in a decentralized infrastructure space. He is not just working in the decentralized infrastructure space because his solution kind of caters to AI and Web3. It's all the sectors combined, and it was a very interesting conversation. He's a young guy who has worked in the trenches in Web3, and now he's working on something on his own. This was a very interesting conversation for many reasons, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this. Hi, Yatharth.
Sure.
Thank you so much for making the time to speak to me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Tarsha. What about you?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Thank you so much. Can you tell us a little about, your background for our listeners and how you got into Web3? Then we can talk about what you're building.
Got it. So, yeah, I'm Yatharth, aka Deep and Daddy. People usually call me Deep and Daddy or YJ. So, basically, I have been in this industry since a while. I have been in this space since 2019. So, the very start of my journey was like I started my journey off by helping a couple of projects around being their ambassadors, and then uh, moving on towards the community and marketing roles towards them. So some of the projects include Trace Network Labs, Push Protocol. Then after that, we got into I got interested into the business development side in this Web3 space, and then I worked around with Router Protocol as a business developer associate. And from there the journey began. It's a long journey where initially I was versatile in nature. I did I was I did community growth, I did marketing, I was one of the ambassadors for Push Protocol, as well as I helped them in marketing as well. So this is a short journey of me since 2019. And then in early 2023, I was working for a deepen project building their GPU cycles, or you can say I was working in their business development team, getting them GPUs as well as getting them clients to use those GPUs. And that's where uh, I figured out that there is something which is a flaw in this industry, that I might we can discuss it over in the later stages. And that's where to overcome that flaw we ideated cluster protocol.
All right. So you've had quite a journey and a ton of experience basically while moving to, Cluster eventually. Tell me a little about the vision that you have for Cluster.
So the ultimate vision for cluster protocol is to provide an interface in the AI for anyone to hop onto the platform. And even if you are a techie or a non-techie, you should be able to get your desired AI solution. That's the ultimate goal of it. So say if you want to make a customized AI agent, let's say Tarusha, you want to build an AI agent who can talk like you, or who can take such interviews or podcasts like this on their own, with their own
Hmm.
voice, or with a clone of your own voice. It would be hell difficult till now as well, because of the fact that this industry, so we can even go more deeper into how to make anything AI, or maybe any solution in AI. But to get you a crux, the integrity in this ecosystem is missing at the moment. Everyone in this deep in space is building GPU marketplaces. Some of them have figured out the supply side of it, but some of them hasn't figured out the demand yet. So it's a chicken and egg problem, which the industry or the deep in industry is trying to figure it out. Like some of them has demand but they don't have supply, some of them have supply but they don't have demand. So that's where our core vision is, to empower each individual, be it a business owner, be it an AI researcher, be it an AI enthusiast, or someone non-techie who wants to build something in AI. So that's the whole vision of democratizing AI and making AI accessible for all.
All All right, that's quite an ambitious vision. So, if you had to surmise what you guys are, building and say a line, how would you do that?
So, cluster protocol is building an infrastructure for
Hmm.
AI and deepins, and we aim to become the next GitHub of AI models.
All right,
So,
okay.
yeah,
That's a very easy way, I think, for people to understand that you want to be the next get for AI models, and you're creating an infrastructure layer for deepens, right?
deepens and for AI as well. So so if you'll see in this current industry, deepens are just, so if you'll break down what deepens is, it's nothing but decentralized physical infrastructure network, right? So there's a
Yeah.
physical infra. It could be anything. You can make a deepen infra of laptops as well. Let's say you connect thousands and thousands of laptops, and then there's an infra, there's a deepen network there. You can make it of any IoT sensor as well. So that's deepen. So here what we are dealing is, in the AI space, is you need compute, right? And
Hmm.
with compute, it is the GPU, that is the graphic processing unit, or maybe you can say it's nothing but the graphic card that is installed in your computer,
Hmm.
right? So if you want to build, that is the core physical infra. Let's say GPU is the core physical infra, and if you build a decentralized network of that GPUs over blockchain, that is what the current deepen scenario is towards the AI side. But there are other projects as well, like, so there are projects named as getgrass, then grass.io, if you have heard of them. Then there is another one, helium, and there are other segments as well, like peak network is doing good, in multiple, in multiple building multiple things in the deep in space. So they even in like collaborated with Tesla as well. So they launched 40 Tesla, a network of deep in network of 40 Teslas. So something like that could be considered as deep in.
All right, okay. And if you had to say, because Deepan is like all the rage now and it's very new, and in our podcast, we basically want to leave the jargon behind. If you had to explain what Deepan is to our listeners, how would you go about doing that?
So yeah, deepen. So as like the intro that I gave you, I guess that clearly explained what deepen is. So I'll repeat it again. It's decentralized physical infrastructure network. So of any physical infra, it could be anything which could be connected to together. If you want to build a decentralized network that is over blockchain, that
Right.
could be considered as deepen. So maybe, so that the example previously I took about those Teslas, right?
Hmm.
So an infra of cameras. So say if you install cameras in those Teslas, a sensor, a camera sensor, or something, that could also be considered as a deepen network. Then if you want to say, there are those routers, those Wi-Fi routers that you have, right, for providing internet. So some of the brands are working towards that side. Some of are working towards these IoT sensors. Some of them are working towards this cameras. And there was this project, I didn't remember their name. So they onboarded truck drivers, right? So they onboarded truck drivers, and they had installed cameras in their trucks. Okay, so it
Hmm.
was recording each and everything. That was also a deep, and it's a popular name. I'm not sure if Helium did that, or there is another one. Helium didn't did that. There was another one. I'm not sure about the name. So that is also a great move. So there was one truck driver. I was in a private Telegram chat, in a Telegram group with a couple of like folks who are enthusiastic about deepins. So I had a quick word with him, and he said that, okay, I'm riding my truck, right, and it's nothing. It's just his camera is recording things off, and I'm making money out of it, right? So deepen is also empowering users, you can say, or you can consider that deepen is making things more accessible for the users, because in the back end, the end user doesn't care what is happening. If you have shown the user that, okay, if we take example of helium, right? So what it does is, it says that, okay, you buy the modem or the router, you put it off, you need some basic installation, and once it's done, you are you are earning helium out of it, right? It's as simple as that.
Right. Yeah, so I asked you the question again because I wanted you to perhaps give more examples to substantiate what you had said, which you did very wonderfully. I think it should be very clear for our listeners that Deepin is nothing but decentralized physical infrastructure. And think of it like multiple nodes, perhaps, and that would be an easy way for you to picture it and visually learn about it. Now, when it comes to cluster protocol, how do you differentiate yourself from other AI and blockchain projects? I understand what you're doing is obviously a USP in itself, but nevertheless, is there a differentiating factor?
Yes. So basically, there are a couple of differentiating factors at cluster protocol as well. So first thing first, in the deepin space, so we are also having a deepin network of GPUs,
Okay.
which range from consumer grade GPUs to industrial grade GPUs. So if I'll say to you, so always don't need those flashy GPUs of maybe 8 NGs, A100s, H100s, or the newest one of NVIDIA, that is, I believe, B200. You don't need those GPUs for basic inferencing or basic inference. It could be done over CPU as well, if I say, right? And on top of that, basic compute. So basically, our USP there is we are building an AI powered recommendation layer on top of our own deepen network. So say, let's take an example of you, Tarusha, sitting in Portugal, and you want to do some AI task. Let's say XYZ is a task that you want to achieve, and you hop on to cluster for just for the compute. Though we have the facility of providing you high quality low code, no code AI models as well as decentralized data sets as well. But you thought of, okay, I have everything. I am a techie and I just want the compute, and I saw that okay, cluster protocol is something, and I want to check that, check us out. So what our USP there is this recommendation layer. So say let's consider that task is to be done via, and you have two options available to you. One is RTX 4090, which is a consumer grade compute. Another one is an 810G, which is a industrial grade compute. Okay, so let's say, so what our AI layer or recommendation layer will do is it will suggest you the time for completion of both the tasks. Okay, so it will suggest that okay, that task, let's say if that task is to be done over 8 ng in 5 minutes, and over 4090 in 7 minutes, but you save the cost over 4090, that is significant. That is, say, let's consider that more than 40%. So it will suggest you, if you can afford extra 2 minutes, then you should go for 4090 instead of 8 ng. So that's the first deepen, like that's the first USP of ours in the deepen side. Apart from that, it's all about the integrity that we are providing and the holistic ecosystem and the infrastructure that we are providing. So that makes us special from others, all others. You'll find many projects which are claiming that okay, we are building the future of AI, but there is a lot of things that is missing from the fundamentals of them. So we, our architecture is so simple and anyone can come. So our consumer side app is like a very simple thing where within few clicks anyone can like host their own customized AI agent using the base AI models, then decentralized data sets and compute, instead of you going to several places and gathering things around and then figuring the tech out and opening your console and doing multiple stuff. And it's all done over servers or over cloud. That's where so there's another problem which I can explain you. So I had a word with actual AI developers, right? So the major problem that they face is of AI training. Inference could be done over cloud, but when they want to train it, either it's a decentralized server or a decentralized platform, or even it's a centralized platform like AWS or maybe Hugging Face. People face issues while training those models. That is why they train their model on their local and then they host them off just for the inference part. What we have done here is we are making that thing easy as well, and anyone can train their own model on our cluster arena as well in the coming future. So you, like all the listeners could check us out in our white papers on over our websites. You'll have a clear roadmap of how we are looking around and how we are moving towards making AI accessible for all. On top of that, for data sets, it's all our own proprietary tech, where we are leveraging zk as well as fhe, fully homomorphic encryption, to make sure that the integrity of the data lies within the people who are uploading their data. So if I'll explain to you what FHE is, because most of the people might be knowing about ZK, but FHE is fairly a newer topic and a newer concept. So homomorphic encryption, if you so fully homomorphic encryption is something where once you encrypt the data, that data is never decrypted at any point of time, and still you can do the computation over that data and you can get the result out of it. So consider it in this way. I can explain it to you by a simple analogy. Let's say there is a box. There's a box and there's a small slit of in that box. Yeah, and you have put $1 into that box. Now, without knowing also, so how ZK works is, there is a game of probability that it will be there. There's a game of probability those proofs will play, and it will try to estimate the money that is there in the box. But what FHE would do is, it will never say that there is $1 in this box, but still you will be able to understand that okay, there is $1 in this box. While what happens in ZK is, it will give you a probable answer. Okay, the amount that is there in this box is less than $1, or maybe anything like less than $2 or more than $0. So that's where ZK and FHE lies way apart. FHE is in nascent stage. There are a couple of companies alongside us which are working over it, which includes Zama.ai as well. So Zama.ai has its own library known as Concrete ML, which is one of the most advanced FHE library till date ever existed. So that's one thing, and like I believe I have already explained you the core USPs of why one should hop onto Cluster instead of any other AI or deepin project.
Right. So that's a very intense and extensive, explanation about the platform itself. Now, if you could break it down for us and our users, if somebody from our listeners wants to perhaps contribute, rent, or buy resources from within your cluster protocol ecosystem, how are you empowering the participants to do that?
So first things first. If you want to buy compute, right, you'll hop on to our compute arena, where we have two things working. I'm sure like your audience would be technical enough to understand these things of. So there are two aspects to it. One is proof of availability. Another one is proof of compute. So proof of
Okay.
availability will ensure from the deepin network the best compute that is available, and on that proof of availability there's this recommendation layer, and the proof of compute layer is the trustless verification layer, which allows you to verify that the compute that you are getting is actual compute. So say Tarusha, if you have claimed that you have one A100, okay, and you are lending that out for 1 month to someone. Now, how will one verify that is it an actual A100 instance that you own, or is it a Raspberry Pi, or maybe A10G, or maybe a cluster of 10, 40, 90s you are powering that compute from? That's where the proof of compute layer comes into picture, and that is how within like if someone wants to try it off, so we would be shooting our GPU marketplace real soon within this June live for people to test it out as well, so people can test it out. And I myself have tested out. It's real smooth, it's real easy. Within few clicks your compute is all with you.
Right. So, you mentioned proof of compute here, which was going to be my next question, and you've kind
Mhm.
of explained that already. How do you perhaps ensure the security integrity of the AI models and data within a decentralized framework?
So yeah, for that, as I already explained, that we are leveraging zkML as well as FHE, fully homomorphic encryption. So there's a dual mechanism which takes place here. So the major issue for using zkML as a whole is that, as I already explained to you, the game of probability, right? So when you don't have, so let's say you want to train your AI model, or you want to train your AI, okay, you want to train your AI model on some data. How would it doesn't make any sense to train your AI model on the probability of data, or on saying that, okay, this data could be like this data has some probability, and you are putting that data. Instead of that, you should have the accurate data, right? That's where we are using zk as well as fhe. So what will happen is, from the data nodes pool, we are using zk for that. What will happen is, for the data nodes, the integrity is maintained by zk. And then after that, if in case, say, if we want to fetch some data from those data nodes, so say, let's say if we want to put in, okay, so if we want to put in, let's say, an example of stating that, uh, who is Tarusha Mittal, okay. So what will happen is, a request would be sent from this side to the data nodes, and then if in case we are able to find that answer, we'll encrypt that over FHE, and that would be gone towards the compute part or the deep in part, and that's where the computation will done, and we will get some answer out of it. For this is something that is more towards the inference level, but you can understand through analogies how it would be done on the training level as well of AI models. So yeah, these are the two things that we are leveraging, and we are making sure that our AI models and like the data sets part is highly secure and versatile in nature.
Right. This sounds very, very interesting. And considering you're right in the middle of it, I think you would be the right person to ask. There is a lot of talk about AI tokens and this particular inflection point that we have reached in our tech journey as a whole ecosystem about how there's going to be a convergence of AI and blockchain. What is your take on that? And this is not just from the perspective of cluster protocol, but just as a whole, what are your thoughts about AI tokens, and how do you see this particular two sectors coming together and working out and shaping the world?
I am quite bullish on this, to be honest. People might say that, okay, so if you'll see the top tokens, that is Render, then there's BitTensor, Tau, and there are a couple of others. So if you'll say that they have reached quite a lot of market caps, they are in hype, and this must fade away. So I just have one line to them: the total market cap of all the AI tokens is around 30 to 40 billion dollars. And if you'll see the combined market cap of Sheep and Doge, it's almost equivalent. So I think that there's a lot of room and scope there as well. If just two of the top meme coins could like, what I can say, if two of the top two meme coins collective market cap is equivalent to the whole AI tokens ecosystem's market cap, then you can imagine how early we are in. Or what do you think about it? I would love to know your thoughts as well, Tarusha, over this.
I really think and I've truly believed that, AI would require blockchain technology. It's very imperative, especially with the kind of content, misinformation, just general, in general, we've been bombarded with a lot of content and information as well as misinformation. And I think to counter that, we would need a Web3 technology to be implemented there. This is like one simple use case that has always been at the top of my mind when anybody asks me about the inflection point between AI and blockchain technologies. I do think that there are some really wonderful projects that are coming up that are utilizing both AI as well as Web3 and moving forward. And like always in our ecosystem, I think there's always some noise. There are some projects that haven't really shown a lot of promise in terms of their vision yet. I can't say promise in terms of the project because I think it's too early, day for any project to have shown or proven their mettle. But some of them have their vision right, and some of them it sounds a little like fluff. And you need to be wary of that. But having said that, I do think that this is a lot like the early days of NFTs, where there was a lot of, you know, hype and there was a lot of noise, but use case scenarios have evolved since then. Sadly, none of them have taken off like digital art collectibles and found a good PMF. But I do think that it's going to be different here. So that is my take.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And for NFTs as well, like if we can go a little bit off topic, I think that the actual hype of NFT is still yet to come.
Right, yeah, because the use cases are still evolving, right? And right now, whatever use cases have come forward, be it decentralized identity or, tickets or anything, all of them have not really taken off in a very big way. But that doesn't mean that the use cases, it's a dynamic space and people will figure out wonderfully new ways to use this technology because it's a robust piece of tech. It is just that, finding a PMF in a very small niche like Web3 for an even perhaps smaller niche of NFT technologies is an uphill task, but it doesn't mean that we won't get there.
Yeah, that's very true. I can put an analogy around of, I can put this analogy around of saying that, okay, when there was just Bitcoin and Ethereum came into picture and Ethereum grew towards in the last 10 years or something, what happened was people never thought of if DeFi or anything like ordinals or something could happen over Bitcoin, but it's happening right now, right? There are ordinals, there's this runes, and it is a clear indication in this Bitcoin ecosystem that it could roar and it could evolve even better than Ethereum, right? So I believe, yeah, there's a lot of scope there in the NFT space as well to bombard not just the basic 1155 or 721, but there are a couple of other standards as well which would evolve, and I think that those would be the actual utility and the use cases of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Absolutely. Now, like talking on the same lines of how we've zoomed out and we're talking about the ecosystem, I would love to know what have your learnings been or what has been perhaps the most rewarding experience in the Web3 space so far. Because, you've had some experience and you've brought that experience for cluster protocol. And I'm sure that over the years, you've had some interesting experiences and some interesting learnings. Would love for you to share those anecdotes with us.
Most rewarding is that the community itself is collaborative. That's the very first thing that I
Right.
think is something that is there in the Web3 space, because there's not a lot of people who are actually building. First things first, there are a couple of them only, or maybe a handful of them, and in total as well, people who are there in this industry, actively involved in this industry. There might be many folks like who have just invested in BTC and then they have forgot about it, but I am
Hmm.
talking about the actual folks who are looking around, maybe learning around right away as well. So I also started by learning things off, right? I was not that much well versed with everything. Everyone has some starting point and they take baby steps, right? So that was 2019 for me. Someone like me could have been doing it right away as well. So the community itself is highly collaborative, and also it's kind of small.
Hmm.
So that is something that I like about this space, and that is where collaboration comes into picture. And it's the same way of saying, or like your listeners would sound it like boring thing about, it's the same way of saying that how internet was evolved and all that, blah blah blah, but it's very true. It's very true.
Right.
If you want to make this, or if you want to say that there's a vision of empowering users around the globe of this technology that is known as Web3 or blockchain, you need to be collaborative. You can compete, yes, but rather than competing, you can compete with a couple of your competitors only, but rather than that, you shouldn't see the whole industry as your competitor. If you'll see it that way, then I don't think you anyway would be able to succeed. And I guess that's also one of the advices to the new entrepreneurs as well. So you need to be humble at almost every point of time. You need
Hmm.
to be having shown the grit, and you need to be like stay grounded, because the very thing is, when someone raises money, right, when someone raises money, so if in case, say Tarusha, you have $10 million in your wallet, okay, you have raised for something, you think that you are on the top of the world and everyone else is a fucker, right?
I
If
wouldn't
I
think
ask,
that, but yeah, like I understand what you're saying that like a lot of people they seem to lose the plot as soon as they raise money because they seem to think that is perhaps the end goal, which it is, which isn't the case because the end goal of running or starting any business is for it to make money and add value in users' lives.
yes. So yeah, that's where the young entrepreneurs fail at times as well. And on top of that, I think apart from that, yeah, the industry is rewarding you. It's similar way of saying that, okay, there's a stock market, you have bull runs and the bear runs. Similarly, here there as well, there might be bull runs, there might be bear runs. You don't know how long would it be. Right now, if you'll see in the 2024, the markets are doing good. BTC is around $70,000, but yeah, who knows if it falls down again, or else it'll go to 100K or maybe 150K. I'm not a financial advisor, but yeah, who knows. So that's where you should keep in mind that if you are having some vision, then you should not like move around that vision, and you should move around that vision, and you should not move anything apart from that. So that's where I think the things should align. And yeah, I guess that's the only part I believe is rewarding. And secondly, it's a general advice of hunting good folks or working with good folks. If you are with good folks, or there's that saying, right, you become like you become the average of the five people you sit in a round table, right? So it's the same way of saying that thing.
Right. Can you, what are the resources that you utilize to stay ahead of the trends and innovations in such a rapidly evolving space? I think we both know that Web3 basically ensures that you stay on your toes at any given point of time. So, are there any resources that you would like to recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, there. So what I prefer is somewhat non-conventional, and listeners wouldn't do that much of things. So I can recommend some newsletter. AI Breakfast is there.
Hmm.
There's another, like a couple of other good newsletters as well, which people can follow. Then most of my things comes from Twitter only. So if you'll scroll Twitter, you'll figure out each and everything that is there. It's just that you need to make your feed look, and like, just you need to make sure that the feed is right, and the Twitter feed is right, so that the Twitter feed is getting inputs from there. Rest apart from that, so my strategy is simple. If I find something that is interesting, I myself is an micro cable as well, so I tend to write. I used to write. I am writing now, right now as well, around AI, around deep and around other innovative technologies in Web3 and blockchain. So I then get over my whiteboard and figure things out, do some researches, and that's the whole my dose of AI and Deepin daily. Apart from that, there are a couple of good sources which I have already showed. Deepin Daily is also one of the great Twitter handles you guys could follow. Then AI Breakfast is there. This is a newsletter. Then apart from that, I'm not sure if I have read any other in my initial days. And after that, like, I have been having this attitude of doing research, so I tend to do researches via, and to do research, it's nothing fancy. You just need to do a Google search, and then you get in and in and in, and you get something out of it. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, you need to have that curiosity around anything that you really want to get into and perhaps do the kind of research. And as you said, once you start doing the research, there would be, you'd be bombarded with a lot of information, but you have to skim through and understand. And perhaps once you skim through all the fluff, you'll come across the better resources, and you can deep dive there. So that's good advice, good recommendations. We'll be sure to link them up in the description. Now, coming back to cluster protocol, what are the upcoming developments or announcements that, we can expect from you guys? And are there any bigger milestones that, you're looking forward to in cluster's
Yes.
journey?
Yes. So basically, we are super excited for our product launch as well. So we are looking to launch our product as we move towards the main net in the coming months. So with the very first thing that would be there is an intent-based crypto wallet. So it's a wallet which is built by the users and for the users. So you can consider it as a an AI wallet, which is similar to MetaMask, but it's way easier to use than MetaMask. Everything that you can do over MetaMask, it can be done over wallet in simple English. So, say if you want to send me $100, okay, Tarsha. So what you can do is, firstly, so there's an option of saving the contact there. So you'll add my say ERC20 address in, so that wallet is EVM compatible, so all the EVM chains you can transact upon. So what you'll do is you'll save my contact first of all, of saying that okay, this save this ERC20 wallet address as Yatharth or YJ. Then after that, it's one click send, and you just type okay, send $100 over Polygon to YJ, and it would be sent with there would be a confirmation, and after that it would be sent. So this is something that, this is just the one feature of it, that you can do swaps, you can do bridges, off ramp, on ramp, and there are a couple of other AI features as well. Token sniping is there, AI powered token sniping, portfolio recommendations, and there are a lot of things that that wallet will come over. So that would be the very first release on our cluster model arena. Apart from that, we are, as I already told you, that we are looking to have a GPU marketplace live as well. So up next it would be that. Then as we are an infra, so we are building our own L3 on Arbitrum's orbit. So that is currently being tested in our labs in house over DevNet, and it would be we would be shooting it towards the testnet super soon. So I guess, yeah, these are the three big milestones, or you can say the announcements that people can look out for. On top of that, yeah, as like we are also looking to have our own token, that is CP. So we are looking to have the token generation event of that token as well super soon.
Wonderful. So these are all wonderful milestones that are coming up. Is there any timeline for any of these releases that our listeners can look forward to?
The wallet could be live within next. So most of the updates that I have shared you would be live and running within next 2 months.
Wonderful. What are the kind of partners that you're looking for? We've talked about how collaboration is key in Web3. What are the kind of protocols or collaborations you're looking at as cluster protocol scales?
Yes, so basically, we are highly collaborative in nature, as I already quoted, and the core partners that we are looking at is the actual core builders of AI. Like if we can leverage some tech to make our infra better, we are we are like more than happy to take assistance or to assist them off as well, in terms of making the whole ecosystem better, and not just that. Okay, so if in case, say Tarusha, you own some AI project, or some you are an AI founder where you are doing something that our infra could leverage, or let's say you have built an AI agent that is way advanced than the humanity. Okay, so we would be more than happy to collaborate with you to host your models off on our arena, or maybe we can figure out many more technical synergies over that. And our core belief is to make sure that the advancement is happening in this ecosystem, and cluster would be at the forefront of it, and it's not just any other AI or deepin project that people should look out for.
All right, yeah. So all the listeners out there who think that you might be a good fit and you're a builder, then please do get in touch with a cluster protocol. And what would be perhaps the best way for people to get involved and get in touch with you?
They can hit me a DM over Telegram or Twitter. My handle is deepindaddy, DEPINDADDY. Or else, if there's some proposal that you want to give to Cluster Protocol, you guys can connect over our Telegram chat, or you can hit a DM over Twitter. So yeah, these would be the best ways for us, like for me. Like if you want to directly get connected with me, you can hit me a DM. If there's a proposal for Cluster, you can hit Cluster a DM as well over Twitter or in the Telegram chat. So I guess, yeah, these would be the best ways to do that.
All right, awesome. So, can you now perhaps, I'm coming, I'm basically running out of time, and there are some more questions that I had, but I think I would stick to two questions. So, one would be, what would be your take on this particular bull run, and how would Cluster Protocol be shaping this particular bull run and the next cycles as well?
Yeah, so my take on this bull run is, so I have seen a couple of other bull runs as well. So the very thing, as I'm a little bit more deep into research, any of the previous happenings, or you can say those technical analysis stuff is not happening right now, right? So right now as well, there's this meme coin saga where most of the users' money, be it retail or whatsoever the thing is there in the meme coins, the actual retail. So if you'll see, the buying power, or the actual power of buying any token, forget about CP or cluster protocol, of any token, comes from the retail, right? And the current scenario looks like you might have seen multiple mini cycles of meme coins. So there was something where people suggested, or people predicted that, okay, after like the previous meme coin rush, there would be a settle off, and then we would move towards upwards. But that didn't happen. There's again a meme coin rush, right? So any of those technical indicators are not working at the moment. And I myself is not a very big fan of technical analysis. Rather, I believe more in fundamental and sentiment analysis. But yeah, combining three of them would give you like better results either ways. So my take on this is pretty simple. You should, and as a founder, my take is even more simpler. Then I just want to make sure that cluster is at the forefront of this bull run, because if this bull run is dominated by AI and deepen, then we would be liking that cluster would lead that thing off.
Hmm.
And though it's not an any financial advice or something, it's just that we aim to build for the people, and we have an actual good token utility as well. So that's why I think that our token would also perform well. Apart from that, there are multiple factors which affect the token, which includes, maybe you guys might be already knowing it about, maybe say having good backers, good KOLs, then we are building good products out, then and on top of all of this is the actual utility of the product that we are building. So I believe these are my raw thoughts over that.
Wonderful. So now, I have to ask the one question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, and you have in part answered it by giving advice to entrepreneurs. But if you had to say, give advice to perhaps people who are not yet building in Web3 or are not utilizing Web3 technologies, what would be your advice to them for them to start living on blockchain truly?
First of all, be a keen listener and be keen to learn more, or be a curious one in the room to explore things out. It's a non-conventional thing which one follows, and so it's similar to having, like, if you want to build in Web3 or blockchain, then it's more of a, you can say, kind of a risk that you are taking at any stage of time, at any point of time, just like how you do it while making a startup, right, in this Web2 industry. So you need to be curious, you need to be at your foot. Trends change within seconds, within like flickering of your eyes, and when within flickers it changes. So you need to be on your foot, you need to be versatile, you need to ship, you need to think, you need to make sure that the community that you are building is. And first of all, yeah, there's another thing that you should make sure is community is king. If in case you have a solid community for your project or for your protocol or for your whatever you name your startup to be in web3, then you the things would be easy for you, because as I already told you, most of these things around in the web3 works around in collaborative community fashion. So yeah, you need to make sure that you are pleasing your community with the things that community actually want. And it's similar to saying that, okay, so if so, and there are some basic norms, right? If you are building anything new, you need to have a product market fit. What people do is forget about the rugs which people are doing, but to the core builders who are doing it, if they are building a product that is not actually required, first of all, or secondly, if it's required, it's not a market fit, you should work it accordingly, and you should make it, or you should mold it according to the community's feedback, and not just stick with, okay, I have this vision or I have this thing and I will build this.
Right.
That is the very least thing that could be what you say, that could be getting success out of it. So yeah, these are some of the advices I would say I would like to give to young entrepreneurs, or maybe people who are looking to build their startups. Apart from that, if someone wants to enter into the blockchain space, so it's very easy, like nowadays, like earlier it was hell difficult, right? Now though it's very easy to onboard in the web3 space. As it's the bull run, you'll figure out many collaborative roles, like ambassador roles, or maybe community manager roles, or maybe any role you would like to explore around. You just get into it, you just figure out stuff, you'll find many stuff around, and then you can take your journey ahead, and within like next few years you'll see yourself growing and building in this space.
Right. I think that's very sound advice. Get involved and build for finding a product market fit, win for creating value. I think you've covered users as well as builders. Yatharth, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm really glad that you could make the time to speak to us today. Thank you so much for making the time. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, it was a very like good conversation, and I believe that the users or the listeners of your podcast, that is living on blockchain. By the way, your the name of the podcast is also good. Like I like that off a lot. Living on blockchain, so they might have found this conversation valuable, and there would be some actionable things which people would find out from this and can implement in their day-to-day lives, or maybe they might have learned more about me, or maybe cluster protocol, or AI industry in general, or the advices that we discussed earlier. So yeah.
Basically, all good things. So, thank you so much once again for making the time to speak to us today. I'm sure that Cluster is going to do fabulously well, and our listeners would be more than happy to join in and see how they can contribute to your vision.
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much, Tarusha.